and gentlemen, distinguished guests and distinguished participants, welcome to today's highly anticipated webinar on personal branding in digital age. I'm thrilled to be your host in engaging this event. My name is Balasubramaniyam, and I'm the AVP of Marketing for Urix. I also kind of take care of a product like Kitabu, where we do a lot of marketing, right? But today is different. Today, the topic, and it is an interesting topic because the personal branding in itself has kind of been spoken, or it's been practiced by various people, and it's kind of considered very, very, very important part of it. But how to do, what exactly to be done, and most importantly, what not to be done, is something what we need to be definitely understanding, right? So in our quest to unravel the secrets of personal branding, we are completely honored to have us a distinguished guest and a true expert in the field. She is an acclaimed author of the best-selling book, Get Paid What You Desire, a guide that empowers individuals to claim their worth and thrive in their professional lives. Please join me in extending a warm virtual welcome to a brilliant and inspiring Susmita. Susmita?
Hi, Bala.
Hi. Susmita, it's an absolute pleasure to have you here today and sharing your invaluable insights on personal branding. Right, your extensive experience, remarkable achievements have made you the guiding light today for various aspirants and professionals seeking to carve their unique identity in this digital age. Right. With that, I pass the mic on to you. Let's start with your introduction, your experience on your particular field, how and where you kind of started with the personal branding. And I'm also kind of definitely going to come back to the book that you have written over here. It's pretty interesting. I've read it once. Definitely a book I'm going to be reading the second time too. Waiting for a signed copy from you soon. All right, since we started getting the physical copy now, right? But we will all come and talk about that. But with that, let's kind of start where the entire journey started, and we'll take things from there.
Thank you so much, Bala. I mean, it's always a pleasure talking to you. I think not many people would know that we worked together sometimes back, and I'm very excited to, talking to you here. So my name is Susmita Das Gupta. I have been an entrepreneur for many, many years. Personal branding as a thing I started sometimes in 2013, when the term personal branding was not really known to people in India. It was a term that was being vaguely used internationally, but personal branding was not a word or a term that was known to people. And many people who were doing something called image consulting used personal branding for some reason, which they should not be using, because image consulting and personal branding has got nothing common among them. So since 2013, I have worked with many, many people, from top executives to mid segments to artists to mountaineers to lead guitarists to dancers, all different kinds of people. Which I'm trying to say is that personal branding is applicable to everyone, and we sometimes forget that you don't have to be really the CEO of a company to have to leverage on your personal brand. Personal brand is something that we're born with. I mean, if you have read my book, so my first line is that you already have a personal brand. So that's where it is. That's where it starts. And I thought that right now, where we're in a very exciting phase, little scary phase, digital, AI, all those kind of stuff. So how do we stay authentic? How do we leverage on the personal brand that we created over the period of time? Not many people know that we already have a personal brand. And I thought that, and I see a lot of different kinds of content floating around in social media. And I thought, maybe, it's time to perhaps put a book around it, some ideas around it. I don't think there's a book on personal branding published from India. So that's what, I thought, let me just do this. That's how it happened.
That is so very true. Good. Talking about that, that is so very true. We don't find a lot of Indian authors actually talking about branding part of it, especially on the personal branding of it. It is there. And the first question which I have when I kind of take the book is, you kind of put it as Get Paid What You Desire, a guide to empower individuals to claim their worth and their thrive professional lives. A very, very detailed, or you have actually picked up a niche and then went there. I want to understand why that title. and what that inspired you to kind of come up with that?
Yeah, so I actually had a different title when I designed the cover page. Okay, I mean, you know me, I do everything myself. So I designed the cover page, I did all those stuff. So when I initially, announced that I'm going to write this book, the title was very different. And by the time I actually published the book, it was it's a different title. The title is "Get What You Desire." Now, I was having a discussion about this with a friend of mine, and we were discussing why it is that which you desire and not which you should get. Now, what I should get is very different than what I desire. What I get is dependent on other people also. The other people can also think, so he might not deserve this, she might not deserve this. But what I desire is my own purpose, my own life's goal, right? So if I know the purpose, if I know the goals, that's my desire. So it's more important, it comes from my own being rather than what the other people is thinking about me. And that's why it is. And definitely with personal branding, if you do it correctly, then money, respect, and reputation is not a big deal. I mean, I put it all these three together. I would not really only say money. I would also say respect. I will also say reputation, because all things are very important in personal branding. You will not make money if you do not have respect in your industry. So all those things put together.
You have actually played upon a very important characteristics. It's always they kind of say, right? Your desire is here, but what you deserve is only so much, right? It could be anything. Like, you don't have the skill to kind of go and achieve the desire what you want. You don't have certain things, or you don't have the resources to kind of go and help the desire. But that personal, it's basically when you kind of want to go from your deservedness to designers, there is a discipline that follows over here. That's what actually brings you from here to there. And one of the most important discipline to craft towards is, it's you who's going to kind of make that particular change. And I think you're bang on in that particular part of taking things out.
Yeah.
Very interesting. So, I'm sure the response for the book is also very, very well thought on that particular thing. And you have actually, in fact, while going through the book, you have actually made it very simple to understand for any of the audience to kind of think. Do you have any particular audience for this particular book, or I want to understand who should actually read this book or think about this particular side of it?
Good question. So I thought, most of the management books have a lot of jargons and lingos and terminologies, which I'm not very fond of. So when I started writing, I thought that the book should be written in such simple English that everybody can understand. Even if the reader is not coming from an English speaking background. And as I said, personal branding is universal. Everybody needs it. Even a student who is preparing to enter the job market, any other field of work, not necessarily as a professional or as somebody who is working in a company as a corporate. Everybody needs it. So I wanted to keep it very fluid, very simple, not confusing, no terminology for which you have to go back and look into the treasurers or in the Google, what does it mean, stuff like that. So even in some places I have given the meaning of the word that is I have used when I didn't find something. So that's the idea. So it is for everybody. Whoever wants to understand what is personal branding and how do I use it. I'm going to use the word use and leverage, because I'm not going to say build, because you already have a personal brand. So all you can do is leverage that personal brand, make it tuned to what you want to desire in life, rather than build it. And that's how this book was written.
Interesting. So when going through the book, and of course one thing always kind of comes into my mind is anything and everything what you kind of do. So when you kind of say it's for anyone and everybody, and it's so very true, it's just not for the people on the top, it's for anyone and everybody. Every little thing that you do kind of connects the dots to a personal branding. People start perceiving you to what you are actually, right? They say that jo dikhta hai wo bikhta hai, right? And that's the thing. You want to kind of comment on it, because much thing people kind of have it for it.
Yeah, the ebook is only 65 pages, and the paperback is only 42 pages. It's a one flight read. You should be able to read it while you are sitting in a flight traveling from Bangalore to Delhi or Bangalore to Bombay. That's the idea, and it's very simple. Uh, so it should stay with you. I mean, the idea is that, in fact, in the paperback, I have also given some empty pages at the end where you can write your notes and stuff. So yes, I mean, that's the whole idea. Don't stress yourself. It's a very simple thing. Only thing is that if you know what is required, you can get it done.
Got it. Okay. Let's kind of go a little bit in depth about it. All right. Anyone and everyone can start personal branding. Get it. But there is too much of mediums outside. Social media, WhatsApp, anything and everything. What do you think where an individual should get started on this?
It's only depend on the person's profession. So if somebody is fully into corporate, then I would say full concentration should be on LinkedIn. But if, say, for example, that person is a creative artist or a photographer or a filmmaker, then the best place to start is Instagram or YouTube. So it all depend on what kind of profession you are in and what you want to achieve through that profession. But generally, I have seen that even if you're in different forms of activities, LinkedIn always helps. So it's good to have something going on in your LinkedIn.
Absolutely agree with that. But again, let's say again, at certain stage of it, one side, if you kind of look into it, there's a fear of someone kind of doing that personal particular branding. I'm going to come to that particular part. But before that, it is a crowded space, right? So, what is your thoughts on, should we kind of differentiate ourselves and do something really different to kind of stick onto it? Because I need to be unique, or any particular idea on it? Because it is a crowded space. We got to be different.
It is crowded place, and therefore in my book also I have very clearly mentioned that to be successful with your personal brand, you need to identify a niche. A niche is very important. Niche is something which makes you stand out of the crowd. And a niche can be, like, for example, I have given some examples also there. When somebody, say, for example, comes from finance background, instead of saying that I am into finance, if the niche is saying I do risk management for family-owned business, then it becomes a niche, right? It's particular, specific to a particular audience, and that audience immediately understands, okay, I have a family business. There are risks in family businesses which are not available in a corporate. For example, succession plans and stuff like that, right? So how do I take care of it? So the moment I can create that niche and, my skill sets and my expertise are also honed to that, that's where you can stand out. So instead of, like, I hear it, a lot of people say, I'm into marketing, I'm into HR, I do operations. It means absolutely nothing to anybody. I mean, so what? So until unless you say that, this is what it is, and I think we'll be talking about that in the solution statement part, you are not really making anybody excited about who you are or what you do.
Absolutely. No, that's important. I mean, yeah, that solution statement part which you have it in the book is pretty interesting. I will come to that part also. But before that, that's the other chapter. What you kind of really put it up is, you kind of define why you need personal branding, and you also talk about what makes a good personal branding, right? Now, one side you kind of defined it, but there is also personal branding which has kind of gone the other way around too. But you kind of define it, boss. What is a good personal branding? Let's kind of talk about that too, right? You want to kind of give a light on that?
See, I would definitely want my readers, the people here, to read my book in detail. So I'm not getting to that kind of detail. But what I'm going to say is that the idea of writing that is that there can be positive personal brands and there can be negative personal brands. And the moment I say negative personal brand, it means those people who have negative reputation. Negative reputation can be with co-workers, can be with the team, can be with the management, can be with the friends, can be with anybody in the social media, somebody who is very, always bitter, poisonous, is, backstabbing, politics, those kind of stuff. You always know there will be some people like this always in the company, right? So those are negative personal brand, because the moment somebody tells their name, their face changes. Oh, I don't want to deal with that person. And That is the negative personal brand I'm talking about. The
Mm-hmm.
expression that comes out in my face talking about somebody is a summation of all my experiences based on his actions towards me and everybody else, and that is the negative personal brand.
Interesting. Okay, in that case, what would you define, or let's kind of put, what are the key elements or say characteristics of a strong personal brand? If I have to kind of put it in that particular way, is there any? Do you find a common characteristics of a strong personal brand here?
See, strong personal brand. Let me first define, as I wrote in the book, what is personal brand. Personal brand is my action and the reputation that I create because of that action. Right? So action plus reputation makes personal brand. So if I am good to people, my reputation is also going to be good. If I'm bad to people, that means if I do something in my daily work which irritates people, bugs people, annoys people, then the reputation is also bad. Right? So that action and my and the reputation that is created out of that action is my personal brand. So if I have to have a positive and strong personal brand, we definitely have to think about that. I mean, what would make my reputation back better? It's like a corporate brand, so in corporate brand also we apply this kind of things. If the experience with my brand is not good, the brand value goes down. Same way for personal brands. My experience with you is not good, and here experience is reputation. Experience is not good, then your value goes down. And if my experience is good, I'll go all the way, right? If somebody helps me, if somebody is always smiling. I mean, I'm not talking so that you have to be nice all the time and stuff like that, but I'm saying that you bring a positive energy into the whole thing, right? And you will see that many people would actually go out of their way to advocate that person if they have a feeling like that. So that's what it is. So immediately you are creating your cheerleaders, you are creating your influencers, you're creating all those people for you who will go and say, oh yes, please, I know this person and he or she is excellent to be with, to work with, do it. So that's what. So these are subtle things, but these are authentic things, but important things.
Very good. Now, in that same context, do you think the personal branding kind of differs from an introvert and extrovert?
Yes, I had in my last newsletter I wrote about it. The characters remain same, the traits remain same. The only thing is that introvert might be little, for an introvert it might be little difficult to say for example communicate about himself or herself. Otherwise, no, everything is okay. Should be in the same thing. The communication is very important. It could be, communications are 3 types: vocal, verbal, and non-verbal. So it is not always that I have to talk to communicate. These are actions, there are gestures, there are things that you do, body language.
Because you touched upon a very important part, because today, one of the misconceptions, at least I have actually found when talking to people, is when we say, okay, let's kind of talk about personal branding, and then they say, like, I'm not the guy who kind of I really want to do personal branding, but I don't know what to write in LinkedIn. I'm kind of shy. I don't want to do it. I could make some mistake, and there's always a fear kind of blocks that particular thing before kind of people kind of do something on personal branding. But the truth is, it's something beyond that. It's not that your creativeness or anything else. It's something, the aura that kind of yours kind of speaks a lot about you, right? Now, do you want to touch a little bit on that? If a fear is a factor for you it is stopping you to kind of go for the personal branding side of it, how to face that?
I once worked with of all the clients that I worked with, I had 2 people who were genuinely introvert. Okay, one was a general manager in Fidelity, and another was a young girl. She was working in a social media company, and etc. etc. But forget about being introvert and extrovert. If I ask this question to someone, what is that one thing you are passionate about that you can talk continuously for 10 minutes. And it doesn't matter whether you are an introvert or an extrovert. Everybody has one topic, at least one topic that they can talk for 10 minutes. And that's where that person's passion lies. It could be based on skill, it could be based on interest, it could be based on what they want to do in life in future, etc., etc. So when you have to write something or communicate something, you are establishing personal brand. Talk about that way. Think about it that way. What is that one thing that you can talk without making any notes, without going through Google, without going back to schools? What is the one topic that you can talk non-stop 10 minutes? And if we can find that out, just talk about it. Then you write. I mean, who cares? You are the best because you know. I mean, if you can talk about 10 minutes without taking note of anything, then you are an expert in that field. Just
Very
talk
good.
about it.
True that. The 10 minutes, of course, works on that particular thing, but you talk about the solution statement, kind of the elevator pitch, right? That's all the 10 minutes talk we're talking about. You want to talk about that, the solution statement in depth?
See, elevator pitch is what usually people talk about. And elevator pitch, as the word has, elevator, that means the time it takes from the ground floor up to the level, the amount of time, 30 seconds to 60 seconds. And pitch is a sales pitch. So, elevator pitch, what happens is you are typically trying to sell yourself or your product to the decision maker who has only 30 seconds time while traveling with you from elevator to the top. So it's a sales pitch. You are trying to sell yourself. And as we know that people do not like to be sold, because he is the CEO. He might be a CEO of the company. She might be the owner of the company in $1 billion and stuff like that. Nobody wants to be sold anything because they have an ego also, right? I mean, what are you trying to sell? You think I don't know this, So instead of doing elevator pitch, the solution statement is something. It's a complete change on that. It's a complete. How do I say? It's a complete reverse on the elevator pitch. Instead of telling them what I am selling and why it is so good that you should buy this, instead of that, if I can find out what is the real problem that this person is having. It could be a marketing problem, sales problem, revenue problem, whatever. I mean, if I do a little bit of research, I can always find out. And then put that problem and then say how my activities are going to solve your problem, my product, my solution, my expertise, my skill set. So you have a problem, I have the solution. Let me help to fix that problem. Now, this approach is much better than saying, why you should buy? Because I have the best product. What is best product? Define it. And I don't care if you have the best product because it is not going to solve my problem. But what happens here is that the moment I have a solution statement, I'm also, the other person, the person on the other side also would be curious because I have been empathetic enough to understand what that problem is, what is bugging me, and that I am trying to fix that. So yes, this comes from the concept of value-based selling. But value-based selling is a huge thing. But in a solution statement, it is just a statement, and this is a couple of lines that you should write. But again, the difference between elevator pitch and the solution statement is that solution statement needs to be modified based on the audience you are talking with. It cannot be the same solution statement because every people or every company would have different problem. So you cannot have the same solution statement. While for the elevator pitch, it is the standard. People are very rigid when it comes to elevator pitch. It has to be same standard stuff. But for a solution statement, it needs to be customized based on the audience.
I think it also connects the dots with the chapter where you kind of say that, what are the 4 important questions you need to ask. I think those questions kind of start giving you the answers to kind of prepare for these solution based on the elevator pitch that you're talking about, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Will also help you to understand what is your strong point, what is my strong point. Because if I'm not strong at what I'm trying to offer, my solution statement will sound fake.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So it goes both ways. You understand from him and you also understand yourself how to align it.
Cool. I mean, I found that is very important things because when you kind of take a pen and paper, start defining the important questions like who you are and things like that, you come to know your weakness, your strength, and then what is that you can actually kind of start doing to say your strength is there. What is that I can do more of that? If there is a weakness of yours, maybe you want to kind of use it in a positive way, and use it in certain places. I think those are the answers. Start kind of developing that elevator pitch, that solution statement, to kind of be precise into what we want to kind of pitch, and also kind of emote that particular brand. No, this is the no nonsense guy. He knows the stuff, and you can get things done. People are much more confident when we kind of start communicating in that way, right?
Yeah. There are 2-3 very important words that you have used. Let me just take those things. So I do not believe in working on weaknesses. You must have read it in the book also. Because I think putting energy on weaknesses is a waste of time and energy. I would rather put energy to make my strengths more strong, right? So it's good to know what are your weaknesses, because that's important, but don't spend time on that. Focus on strengths, because the more you build on your strengths, that more it's better. And when you do good, you will feel good. It's it goes and triggers in your brain. The moment you do good, and it will make you feel better. You will do good. You will feel motivated and stuff like that. Other thing is the confidence thing that you mentioned. Yes. So if I know who I am, what is my authentic self, what I'm good at, I should be confident. If I'm not confident, then either I do not know what I'm doing, I'm just faking it, perhaps, So confidence comes from all those things. Also, I have not mentioned this in the book, but this is a process that I do with my clients. It's called 4W1H process. So the 4W1H process, number one is, who are you? Who are you is trying to find out the authentic self. That means if you are an introvert, you cannot become an extrovert because of this. So you have to fundamentally know who you are as a person, on the most fundamental basic level, who you are. Are you an outgoing person? Are you an extrovert? Are you an introvert? Do you like to travel? You hate travel, but you are in a sales job, So those kind of things. Second question is that, what do you do? So who are you? And then what do you do? So what do you do is your profession, your business, your skills, your experiences, your expertise, reputation, everything. The third W is, who do you do it for? That means your target customers, your cheerleaders, your influencers, your spotlighters. Next one is, why do you do it? It is the passion. There's a chapter I have written, I think I mentioned about Ikigai also, where it says, what's your why? So what's your why is this. Why you are doing this? Why you are getting up in the morning to do this? If that doesn't happen, this would nothing will happen. Utke feed jana padega. That the moment, I know we all go through that. But then how do we get out of it? What is the solution? I have given an example in the book also, that there was this guy who was doing fantastic in a bank, HSBC actually in Bangalore. And when he came to me about the thing, he was not looking or sounding very exciting. Theek hai, HNI hai, I get a lot of money and banking, blah, blah, blah. Then I asked him, what is your passion? And he, I love cars. The voice changed, body language changed. Everybody, from my boss to my most valuable customer, from my colleague, my friends, before buying car, they will always ask me, dude, tell me what car. I will tell them every details about every brand, about every variations in the brand. I know all cars. He was so excited. I said, then why you're not shifting from being banker to a car? What are you saying, man? I get a lot of money. I don't want to do that. And then he shifted to Dubai and he became an auto consultant. And he's like so happy now, So it also depends what's your why. So that thing. And the last one is H. H is how do you do it? Now that you have identified yourself, etc., what are the things that you're going to do to make it happen? How do you do it? So my entire personal branding program is based on this 4W1.
Interesting. Okay. So I'm pretty much sure you've seen a lot of personal branding. It kind of you've done for various people. Is this something what people should be aware of? Okay, these are the things you should not be doing. Try not doing these things when you're kind of building your brand. You have any tips on that?
Yeah, of course. Try not to hurt people. Try not to be judgmental. Do not use people's background to make jokes. Do not bring religion into your communication. Do not say I am the best. I don't care about you. So these are attitude that's are not, nobody likes this. So these are the things you should not be doing. Particularly, see, what happens is if you are talking to somebody face to face, that conversation would only last few minutes, and it is only one person who is consuming that nonsense you are giving. But the moment I put it in the social media, it stays forever. And in today's world where every employee is, you do it yourself also, is found through social media. They will go through their LinkedIn, they will go through their other social media. I do that and see, what kind of a person. And if I see my ideology does not match with this, oh my God, these are the kind of comments this guy has made about women, kind of comment that guy has made about something else, I would not hire that person. So you have to be very careful about this. A lot of people, that's why they use a lot of fake usernames in Twitter. That's because they want to do this kind of stuff. It's good. So long you can get away with it is good. But then it also shows that, you are not authentic. You are doing it in the mask of something. So I always like to see somebody in a LinkedIn, how they behave, because you cannot put a username in a LinkedIn, so you know who you are. And yeah, that's it. Kind of comments they make, kind of statements they will, endorse, stuff like that. So yeah, you have to be a little more open-minded, generous, kind, empathetic, to not to have those kind of things. And it's very easy to be good. It's difficult to be always mad at people. I think so.
Absolutely. I think, even the little small things kind of matters a lot, because I have a lot of friends whose contact numbers I have it in my phone. Then it opens up in the WhatsApp. It kind of gives a lot about the kind of status that they share, the kind of DP that do it. I mean, I'm not trying to be judgmental here, but it kind of creates a aura, it creates a brand for themselves for that, right? Like, okay, so this is a person like that. That's what he's kind of trying to say. If it is a cheap joke, yeah, it is a cheap joke, right? It kind of stays there. I think those are the things. When you're there, okay, if you're going to put a status, there's a lot of people going to watch it. You better be very, very careful, especially if your clients are there, right? You better be careful on what you're going to be posting.
Clients, investors, and your potential partner in life, if you're not married, you are done. See, jokes about friends are okay. You can always have jokes, but then you should know what is appropriate and what is not in an open forum, right? That's all we're talking about. I always say, if you want to find a good partner, please don't put nonsense in social media. Everybody checks everybody out.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Now, this is a personal question which I wanted to do. Wanted to always ask you. So you have your personal branding. I know that you've been doing that for a while. You're also a tea artist. All right. Did that kind of a combo kind of help you out in in building your own brand? Want to understand that side of the story.
See, I will tell you that I have a much better and bigger personal brand when it comes to me being a tea artist. Precisely because there are no other tea artists anywhere, right? And what I do is absolutely unique because nobody does this. So when I started only, I had a mileage, and then the kind of work that I do around tea and stuff. So I have a much better and bigger personal brand when it comes to tea, being a tea artist. In this one, my own personal brand, I mean, see, I'm in this business for me. I mean, this is going to be my 26th year of being a professional. So, yeah, I mean, there is a personal brand there. It's also a crowded place. But as I said, when I started in 2013 doing personal brand, there were only 3 personal brand strategists in the country. So I am one of those first, few people who started doing it. So that way there are people. There is this thing, and I think my book is going to also help in the process of building understanding about what I do and how I do it differently from everybody else.
Absolutely, and I think that's so very true. At the beginning of the conversation, you yourself said that there's hardly any Indian writers actually talking about this particular topic. There's so many things. There's like not a single book on it, and you found that particular niche and you kind of bang on with that particular thing. Pretty good. Talking about it, who are the inspirations here whom we should definitely follow and inspire?
Personally, I think, I'm not somebody who like can be a blind bhakt, okay, of anybody. So I look at a person, I may like one part of what he is saying, I may not like another part of what he's doing. So I always take things in perspective. So it's not that I would follow somebody like it. I did a lot of different people in LinkedIn. I did a lot of different books and stuff like that, but not exactly like who is an influencer. But having said that, my first boss, whom I worked for 9 years, and I have dedicated the book also to him. He is somebody who kind of changed my way of looking at things. So he has been a big influencer. I mean, even now, if I'm in a problem, like I left that company in 2004, so it's going to be 20 years that I left that company. But I can still call him up and ask. I mean, I think I need some advice, and he will help me. So even not only him, anybody in that organization, I can still call them up and ask for suggestions, help, etc. And they can also do the same thing. So yeah, that way. Somebody who had a very prominent mark on my life and career, that person.
Nice, interesting. Oh, I mean, that's interesting. 20 years and that inspiration is still on. Fantastic. Yeah.
See, now he says, I'm very proud of you, but it has taken me many years to hear that from him. No, it's also like, okay, I want to hear this from you. Why are you not telling me this? When you like somebody, you look up to somebody, you always attract interest, right?
Right. Interesting. Very good. Okay, so almost kind of to an end, and we kind of kept like the last few minutes for some of the questions that we can take from the audience. And in fact, while we've been asking for people to register, we had a lot of actually questions from there. But before I kind of go there, I want to let's talk about the final note on the branding stuff of it. We spoke about what is branding, why it is important, and where and how we are going to be shaping on it. Do you think, this is again a very personal question which I kind of have with the personal branding is going to be even more valued in the coming days when AI has been taking over various jobs and other, at least the skill set of certain things. So do you think it's going to be much more valued in the coming days, especially on the AI time?
Absolutely. See, AI is still not reached a state where it can make assumptions on its own. You still need keywords. You still need a lot of leading questions and stuff like that. I also use AI, right, to write my stuff. Sometimes you also do it. That's very common. But it's not that it writes without any input. You need to give very specific input for it to write. So of course, those are skill sets, right? A content writer can actually improve his or her personal branding of being able to find those, specific keywords in writing a good content. And life could be easy, but he still needs to find those keywords. So yeah, I mean, now it will be a lot of stuff. And not only in writing. See, I have a personal branding client who is from US, and he is the head of retail marketing their company is into retail, and the kind of stuff that his company does in the retail space with technology is mind-boggling. I mean, I read their things, and they have no customers in India. They have customers in Japan, in Europe, in North America, Australia. The kind of technology that they are bringing into this thing, into retail space, is just mind-boggling. And he is establishing himself as a thought leader in how to bring technology, particularly AI, into retail. So yes, of course, there are a lot of those possibilities.
Very good. One last question, and then we wrap the session and get to the questions part of it. Personal branding helps a lot of brands, and I'm talking about the companies to kind of take to the next particular level. How important is this, and should every startup actually kind of think about branding a particular person and to kind of drive the company's vision?
Absolutely, you are bang on. See, people like human beings. So I always tell a startup, whenever I'm talking to a startup and working with a startup, I always say that, you should first build your own personal brand before going and building the company's brand. Because you are a human being, they will trust you faster than they will trust a logo. So it's very important to build a personal brand. And any business, anything, any business, any transaction is relationship. Now, you cannot have a relationship with a logo. You can only have a relationship with a human being. And if your relationship is good, any business can be done. I was talking about the person who I admire most in terms of professional life and all. When I was to work for that company, we had I think the Fortune 100 companies were my clients, were our clients. Okay. And I had never seen, and I being into marketing and sales, I used to travel with him into different companies and meet. And we always used to meet with the top guy, the CEO or the etc., this chairman. I have never ever heard him talking about business.
Right. Mm.
He will go and ask, how are things? So your daughter got her admission into medical school. What happened? What is the plans and stuff like that? 10 minutes, 15 minutes, we'll sit together, talk this kind of stuff, come out, and the purchase order will come by itself. You would not believe it. I mean, I have seen it firsthand. I have experienced it firsthand that if you have to reach a position like that, you should never talk business with your key customers. The relationship is very important. And that happens only when you are a human being. Right, as a startup company, I should be able to go and do that, not my logo. So yes, please build your brand, or think about only building your brand first.
Absolutely. That is so very true. Like, face kind of tells like what kind of brand that is, and it kind of moves on. Just want to share another experience. Like when you said that people buy emotions, right? And it's a first-hand thing that happened. It's like we recently went to buy a camera because we were kind of thinking of shooting in various spots and other stuff. Some liquid crystal cameras and now so many other things have kind of come, and we said, okay, let's kind of get into a shop and buy it. And we went inside. There's a lot of cameras over there, and there was this one gentleman who's kind of helping us do it. In fact, there were many. One guy kind of asked like, what is the best camera? Then he kind of started telling, he's made this got so much of megapixels and this and ISO that this. Didn't understand a word of it, but I understood there's a camera with a lot of features. It's worth the price what they are doing it, and kept on moving. His boss came, right? He understood what is that I was kind of asking. He comes and he asked, like, okay, so have you decided? I don't know what to decide because see, I want to buy one, but I really do not know which one to buy. These are so many options. I don't know which one to kind of. I'm not the technical guy. Then he pointed out one particular camera and said, "Sir, you buy this camera." Okay, why? This camera will make you a better photographer. I was sold there. I'm buying it for that sole reason.
That's a solution statement for you.
Exactly. I wanted to buy a camera just for that, right? I wanted to be a better photographer. And that's why I went there. I don't care now what is the megapixel inside it, whether it's liquid, whatever it is.
Exactly.
And the one what he pointed was much more expensive than the one which I was kind of thinking, okay, I should buy that. But I was okay. Like, that's the emotional connect that you kind of immediately do. And then, you make that purchase, right? And that's exactly the place where you kind of spoke about that pitch. Like, keep everything aside. The solution statement is this is what it is. What is the camera? Like, this one will make you a better photographer. Yes, that's what I want, and I'll kind of get that. Now, the price doesn't matter, feature doesn't matter, nothing matters. Emotionally, what I want to connect, it kind of connected, right? So yes, we're right. Yeah. Now, with that, we have few audiences, and also we have questions in the place where they kind of schedule this particular meeting. So I'm going to be, anybody in the audience can actually, put up their questions in the comment section. All right. Or otherwise, I'll kind of take up some of the questions that we already have. So some we have already discussed, but I'm just going to put those questions up. Number one, we have, I don't know the name of the participants, but it's anonymous, but we'll kind of go with the questions. What are some effective strategies for managing and enhancing personal brand reputation in digital space? I think you covered it, but maybe you want to kind of give a brief on that.
Yeah, so if you have identified that LinkedIn is going to be your place to communicate, then you have to be consistent. stick to your niche. Write something which shows that you know your stuff. Don't randomly share things. And the best way to get eyeballs is to go and write a comment in another person's activity, which is also part of your industry. That's where people actually go and check you out and see your profiles. So you have to do this 10-15 minutes every day morning.
And just corrected question on that particular, but I know many people write LinkedIn posts which is generated from, say, ChatGPT. Are you okay with that side of it? I know a lot of people do that. I like, that's not the way he writes, but I see he's written something good. But TK, like, what do you think on those things?
See, I have no problem how it is written. So long why it is written is taken care of. So you do whatever.
Go and get an AI to kind of do it, but just do it. That's the most important part, right?
Not do it. I mean, what are you trying to achieve by doing it? Is it getting solved? If it is getting solved, it's fine. If it is not getting solved, then find some other way.
Absolutely. Good. Another question is, how can individuals effectively differentiate themselves in a crowded digital marketplace?
I already answered. So it's typically going back to creating your own niche. Go down. Why? That 7 why thing that we have learned. So go down to the bottommost possible, where you say, okay, now in finance, I am, risk analyst for family business. So you have to go down to that point in your subject.
Right. Okay. So another question, some real life example of individuals who have successfully built their personal brand. We also have another one over here. We'll finish this and then come to that one. Yeah. Real life examples of individuals who have successfully built their personal brand. I think there's a lot of people.
Lord, whoever you can think of, the ID business, the Mustafa, right? He's a great guy. He writes very interesting. He never says buy my stuff, and that's the most important. He goes and tells a story, etc. Now he's doing something in Dubai. So whoever you are following in LinkedIn is your person to go and learn from them.
Good. And we have another question here from the audience. His name is Sujit. Very interesting question. Isn't the self-branding idea will be boosting egoistic crowd at workplace?
No. Why? If you're authentic, are you authentically a person who loves to boost your ego? If you are, then it is going to be like that only. If you're not, then it is not. So the first question of who you are is where you are going to find your authentic self. So if you are a down-to-earth person, you will still stay down-to-earth person. If you're somebody who are flamboyant, you will stay flamboyant. Doesn't matter. It doesn't mean blowing your own trumpet. Personal branding is not blowing your own trumpet. Personal branding is understanding what works for me and how do I make sure that I can use that in becoming successful. What's wrong in becoming successful?
Perfect. I hope that's answered, Sujit. With that, further over here, drive engagement in social media. Okay, LinkedIn profile writing. So, do you have any tips on how to write LinkedIn profiles?
See, LinkedIn profile writing is a service that's a very valuable service. There are companies who do this. There are individuals who do that. I also have written for all my clients. But what I'm going to tell you is that do not leave any space that is given by LinkedIn. Every space you have to fill up. I see that many people leave spaces. I mean, there are things that like for example, what do I talk about? You don't write it. You don't write a subtitle to your LinkedIn profile. You do not write a summary of your profile. So what I'm trying to say is that whatever LinkedIn has given you, fill it up. Then later on you can go check, because you will see every 1 week you will see analytics coming and showing this many people have followed you and visited your profile, and then you will see these are the keywords based on which they have looked into you. So if you look into those kind of stuff, you will always see what needs to be changed and go back and change it.
Yeah, absolutely. Brilliant. Yeah. So I think LinkedIn profile writing is an important part. I think it's an art in itself. Again, talking about the brand that what you are actually portraying yourself is going to kind of come out there. Other questions like guidelines that we need to kind of keep in mind and tricks of being prepared of what comes next to the audience you are targeting. So I think the question is asking about guidelines that we need to keep in mind and tricks of being prepared of what comes next to the audience that you are targeting. Any guidelines on that?
I did not understand the question, but what I think he's asking is that how do you propose yourself in front of a target customer? Is that the question? Very briefly.
I think so. It's like probably they're asking for the guidelines. Okay, it's their target audience is coming in. What are the tips that you need to keep in mind?
So I will tell you something. Now, every day I get some 20 junk mails in my LinkedIn, and 20 junk mails are about, they are selling me social media services, they are selling me personal branding services. One lady wrote a very nice letter about personal branding. Every day they are selling me WhatsApp services. Okay. And one day I asked, did you even go to my profile to check what I do? Do you even look into what do I do? I mean, if you have at least taken a glance in my profile, you would not send me this email. So I think that is the first place. Everybody has a standard email format. Copy paste करो और जितना लोग है सबको भेजो. No, that's what has happened now. So don't do that. You are really annoying people. I have blocked people for this thing. So I'm sure a lot of other people will also do that. I mean, why? I am a tea artist. I'm a personal brand person. Why do I need WhatsApp marketing?
Yeah.
Why do I need WhatsApp marketing? So this is fundamental. Please research your target customer. That's it. This is the first step, last step, middle step, whatever. Please do it. Do not randomly send people messages like that.
Yeah. That also again creates an impression of what kind of person you are,
and what kind of brand the company is.
Yeah, it kind of affects the company also. Just because you kind of did a bad job, you're actually kind of spoiling the reputation of the brand that has been built.
If you are representing a company, then your personal brand reflects on the company brand.
Very good. I think we pretty much covered most of the questions. And any last thoughts and ideas, Susmita?
No last thoughts. It's always continuous thoughts and talks. Only thing is that, this is the time. Please grab it. Start working on your personal branding. You should have started yesterday, but okay, today is also good. So get started. And I have there's a quote that I really like, which says, when is the last time you did something for the first time? And this also goes into here. Please, we know, sometimes we get lazy and stuff like that, but this is the time to take note of yourself and get started. And another thing I would like to add here is that, many people I have seen that, my age and little older, little younger, that we have finished our graduation, college, engineering, whatever, right? By the age 25, we have finished our education. After that, how many people have upgraded their knowledge? How many people have taken a course? How many people have learned something new?
Yeah.
And you still expect that your career will grow. You still expect you are going to compete with younger kids who have more skills, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Kabhi to karo. Spend 30,000 rupees a year to upgrade yourself. अगर वो भी नहीं होता है तो LinkedIn में free में class मिलता है. Please करो. Let's do something. Upgrading your skills every 3 years is a must.
Absolutely. Brilliant.
So you have to do something for the first time, which you have not done in a long time. That's it.
Very interesting question that is, yes. Fantastic. All right, we are almost to wrap this webinar over here. And Susmita, wonderful answers. All right. And we got all kind of questions on personal branding. I think it's beyond the no one personal branding. We kind of learned a lot more and really appreciate your time today. And of course, I think people who are watching this particular video know that you can actually kind of go to Amazon and look for Susmita Das. You will find her and you can actually get the book. There's an ebook available. There's also a paperback is also available right now. And I highly, highly recommend go and read this book. She said it's a very small book, easy to understand, and you can finish it in a moment, but it's complete gold in it, right? Anyone thinking about personal branding or kind of getting started into it, I think this is a time where you have to get this book and get started off. All right. With that, once again, thank you very much, Susmita. Really appreciate all the thoughts and ideas. And I look forward to kind of doing many more sessions and many more books to review along with you on these particular areas and ideas.
Thank you so much, Bala. It's always a pleasure talking to you. You ask the right questions all the time.
Thank you very much. All right. Thank you. Other folks who have actually joined in, you would also see a recording of this coming to you right soon, probably in a day or two, and also some clips from mine and Susmita's LinkedIn profiles. And definitely do follow us on LinkedIn. I'm putting that LinkedIn. That's the LinkedIn for Susmita Das, where you can actually follow up or you have any questions. Yes, Susmita Das Gupta. That's the complete name there. So that's a link also in the chat. You can actually connect with her and do it. And in order to find me, take my complicated name and put it in the search. You will definitely find only me, nobody else. So from there, we can also get connected.
Yeah, put your LinkedIn also here.
Here we go. Okay. All right. Thank you once again. Have a great night. Wonderful again. Thank you very much, Susmita.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.